What is up everybody, it's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and in this video I'm gonna be talking about the best thing about Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, in my opinion. Iron-Blooded Orphans is definitely my favorite anime that I'm watching as it comes out during the winter 2017 season, and I'm really enjoying it a lot, and that's why I'm excited to do this video. If you're new to the channel, here at Anime Uproar we do a lot of anime news, theories, and analysis, so be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you'd like to chat with us about anime on a daily basis, you can join our Discord server, link in the description. So, what is the best thing about Iron-Blooded Orphans in my opinion, other than the amazing OPs, and also the fact that this anime finally answers the question, what would happen if Kamina from Gurren Lagann and Villetta Nu from Code Geass had a baby? Seriously, think about it. Kamina Numinati. Confirmed. But the best thing about this anime for me is how maturely it deals with important social and economic issues, and how it depicts a future in which capitalism has run wild. Big corporations are so powerful that they have their own private armies, and certain segments of the population are discriminated against and treated as subhuman or human debris and considered good for nothing but manual labor or risking their lives in battle. Our main characters are orphans who have no traditional family or system of support, and they are consistently used and abused. They are forced to work and risk their lives doing hard labor, and they are abused and beaten by their superiors. After they are abandoned by their superiors and left to die at the hands of Gallarhorn, they rebel and form their own company, and they begin to create a unique family of their own. The anime explores very interesting and complex issues, such as the meaning of family, the idea of capitalism gone wild, the abuse of common workers, child labor, and child soldiers. In many ways, this anime takes me back to the Industrial Revolution and the Marxist critique of capitalist societies. And as a student of politics and philosophy, these are very intriguing subjects for me. So yeah, what really stands out to me with this anime is that it's not just an action mecha anime. The action scenes are great, they're really entertaining. However, there is a deeper core to this anime, a deeper socio-economical background that is explored in a really mature and unique way. And if you haven't seen it yet, be warned, from this point on there will be some spoilers, so if you still need to finish the anime, go do that right now and then come right back. Season 1 follows Tekkadan, the company that the orphans have formed, as they struggle to make it on their own as a company and face many challenges. However, even though they lose some comrades along the way, at the end of Season 1 we do see Tekkadan become a powerful force in the world of the anime. And while some anime would have ended the journey right there, Iron-Blooded Orphans does not do that. At the beginning of Season 2, we see the issue of child soldiers rear its ugly head again in an interesting way. Because Tekkadan, which was made up of orphans or child soldiers, became so powerful and successful, other companies started using and abusing more child soldiers and following in Tekkadan's example. I found this very interesting because while we know that the orphans of Tekkadan had the best intentions, they didn't have a choice but to rebel and create their own company. Their success actually hurt other people because now more child soldiers were being used because child soldiers were proven to be so effective with the example of Tekkadan. This is an instance of the anime actually thinking about the consequences, the real world consequences of actions. And this is something that keeps coming up again and again throughout the anime. As Tekkadan becomes more powerful, they also have more responsibilities and more dangerous rivals. They become a target, and they have to deal with the consequences of their actions, both for themselves and for others. The anime handles these issues maturely. It is not merely a case of the good guys defeating the bad guys, and then everything works out for everyone. The issues here are much more complicated. And to emphasize again how the show handles socioeconomic issues in a really mature way, I want to bring up a detail from episode 35. This detail might seem small at first, it might seem insignificant, but in my own personal experience, it is actually quite significant. In this episode, Kudelia tells us that she established a school for orphans, and in this school, both the tuition and the lunch are free. And lunch is free because she doesn't want the orphans to have to work in order to be able to afford food. And this free lunch stuff is actually an important detail in my own experience. As a child, I actually lived through the civil wars in the former Yugoslavia, and my family and I were refugees. As a refugee, I moved to a new school where they had a yearly lunch plan, and basically you would pay a very affordable yearly fee in order to get lunch every day served to you along with the rest of your classmates. Now, I was fortunate enough that my parents could actually afford this yearly fee. So I would get lunch served along with my classmates every day, and then it would be a social experience as well. We would talk about what lunch is being served this day, if we're being served the same thing too often, and all that kind of elementary school, preschool kind of chatter and talk. However, because of the difficult economic situation as a result of the Civil War, there were always 1 or 2 students in our classes who could not afford even this small fee for lunch. I still remember feeling bad for these students who could not afford the lunch. They would feel left out, they would probably go hungry, and they would also not be part of our social interactions as we ate the lunch together. So yeah, even though this was a long time ago, I still remember it. I still remember feeling that it was a sad thing that this was happening. So this sort of attention to detail, to that free lunch, it really spoke to me. It shows me that this is a mature show, that the creators of this show really thought about these things. If these orphans have a free lunch, that means that they don't have to go out and work more for food, be abused more by their superiors, and so on. Just like in real war, death is always present in this anime. Civilians are killed all the time as a result of the battles that occur, and even important and beloved characters are killed off throughout the show. Episodes 40 and 41 really drive this home, and again, huge spoiler warning, but in these episodes, Naze, Amida, and Laughter are all killed off. And while these deaths were really frustrating because these were all really cool and likable characters, it also shows that this anime is serious. It wants to show us that when you're in war, when battles are happening, sometimes people die. And sometimes these people are not side characters. Sometimes they're people who are important in your life. So yes, even though they were tragic, these deaths show the maturity of this anime. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to freak out about the fact that Naze, Amida, and Laughter died because Naze had his own spaceship full of women. It was a harem, a spaceship harem. Why does this happen? Why does this keep happening? It's Kamina all over again. Why? Anyways, I'm fine, I'm okay. And speaking of Kamina, I saw a lot of parallels between Iron-Blooded Orphans and Gurren Lagann, which is my favorite anime of all time. So I'm going to talk about that a bit right now. Be warned that some Gurren Lagann spoilers are coming up. So if you haven't seen Gurren Lagann, why haven't you seen it? Go watch it right now, immediately, and then come right back. Both Gurren Lagann and Iron-Blooded Orphans begin in a place where the main characters are essentially children who are forced to do menial work and are abused by their superiors. But they take their fate into their own hands and form a powerful team, Daigurendan and Tekkadan respectively, and this team then faces off against much stronger opponents and rivals and yet triumphs against all odds. On top of that, Mikazuki and Orga have a similar relationship to Simone and Kamina, but whereas Kamina needs to first teach Simone to believe in the me who believes in you, Mika believes in Orga 100% from the get-go, so much so that this makes Orga feel a great burden and great responsibility, because he blames himself for all the suffering Mika puts himself through for Orga and the others. There is a really interesting and nuanced friendship dynamic between Orga and Mika, and I really enjoy watching it develop. Just like I enjoyed the dynamic between Kamina and Simone. Now I will say of course that Iron-Blooded Orphans is not a perfect anime and it does have some issues. One of the issues that I saw in the first season was that Kudelia seemed far too immature and naive to me to be the leader of an independence movement. It just did not seem to me like she was nearly mature and strategic enough at that point to be hailed as a hero of a sort of independence movement or revolution. I also thought that in the second season it was very naive for Tekkadan to leave the Earth branch in the hands of Radice and Takaki. Radice of course ends up betraying them, he is not part of their inner circle, and Takaki, who is still a child, has no sense of diplomacy or leadership, so he basically just follows Radice along blindly until he is finally rescued by the rest of Tekkadan and he realizes that Radice betrayed them all. And finally, towards the end of the second season, I found it very frustrating that both McMurdo and Naze allowed that bastard Jasly to work behind their backs and keep stabbing him in the back over and over again. you would think that by this time these guys would be capable enough as leaders to see what's going on and to deal with the threat. So yeah, those were a few issues that I noticed with the show that I personally was frustrated with. However, those are minor in comparison to all the great positives that I've seen in this show. So in conclusion, while I thought that the action, the music, and other parts of this anime were great, the best thing about Iron-Blooded Orphans, in my opinion, was how maturely they deal with important socioeconomic issues, how realistically they portray the cruelty of war, and how they give us a really nuanced and balanced view of human nature. So what did you think? Do you agree with me? What was your favorite part about this anime? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. As always, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos like this one. If you want to chat about Iron-Blooded Orphans or any other anime on a daily basis, you can join our Discord server. The link is in the description. And until next time, see ya! Space Cowboys.